Are you new to Say Heroes or a returning veteran wanting to know more about the Dominator Archetype class in the game? I'm Controlled Chaos, and in this video, I'm going to go over everything about the Dominator and how they should be played, how you should slot enhancements, and things like that. Let's go ahead and get started. First, the Dominator in role-playing terms is like 1/2 Enchanter, 1/4 Wizard, 1/4 Fighter. And the reason I say that is your primary abilities are all control-based abilities. You are controlling the battlefield just like a controller. Your secondary is a mix of ranged attacks and melee attacks, and that's where the Wizard and Fighter aspect come into this. So with that being said, when you're playing this class, you're going to see a lot quicker mowing through of the enemy than you will a controller. So if you're more wanting that laid back, relax, and just hit a couple buttons every so often and have a little bit more free time to chat, then you want to go the controller route. If you want more action-based combat, but you like the fact of being able to control the playfield, this is where the Dominator is for you. Some of the power sets that are in the Dominator archetype are: you have fire, you have earth, you have your ice, and all that kind of stuff. But then you also have mental attacks, you have mental control, and stuff like that. When you get to some of these servers, however, there is some differences. For instance, on Homecoming, you have a new control power called Symphonic Control. This is all sound control, which is really cool. You're using songs to control the enemy, to put them to sleep, to put them to lull, and stuff like that. When you go on to Rebirth, you have cool new attack abilities for your secondary. You have things like ninjutsu, where you're using a sword and then your ranged attacks are daggers. On Thunder Spy, you have pistols you can attack with. And I know a lot of you were saying, well, how do you attack with pistols in melee? Well, have you ever heard of pistol whipping someone? Just that right there, you can pistol whip someone and it looks good. It's the normal melee attack with pistols, but they upped the damage a great amount. It's a harder hit. But there's more to that than just that. There's the point blank shot. It is a shot that is not used range, but when you are up melee ranged and you shoot with your pistol. And it's fun, it's interesting, and it's cool. And then there are other ones besides those that are out there. So check the different servers, jump on the different servers, see what they have. And later on down the road, in future updates, they may add more. Continuing on, when we're talking about the attacks, you have the dark melee, you have spines, you have martial arts attacks. And the martial arts attacks, it's all the normal roundhouses and the punches and stuff like that, but for the range, you throw out shurikens. You have your psychic attacks. You have a bunch going on there that works. Some of the servers, depending on what issue they went with it, you have illusionary controls for your primary, and illusionary controls are really fun to use because you are putting people to sleep, you are blinding people, you are controlling them, making them think that you are their allies, so they're attacking with you. And that's really nice way of looking at it. It's almost like a way of doing Mysterio type things, you know, Spider-Man's enemy, in creating illusions, which is nice. And there are a lot of these builds that can be fun. I did one that is fire for the attacks and dark masma for the control, and it's fun to use there. My favorite, however, that I love and I cannot get enough of playing is for my control, I use gravity. For my attacks, I use energy. And the reason I love this is just being able to throw the enemy around however I see fit. In the gravity, there's the uplift, there's the pushback, there's propel, where you summon up this gravity well that shoots out an object at it. It's a random thing. One moment it could be a chair, the next moment it could be a dumpster or a light post, things like that, and it's fun. And then the energy also has knockbacks for its attacks, so enemies are constantly flying every which way, and I just love that, and I can't stop laughing because there's ragdoll physics in the game. And most of the games I don't like ragdoll physics, but in City of Heroes, because it's comic book and it's sort of got a little silliness to it, it fits perfectly. So I'm always laughing and making puns, and it's great. In fact, I made a character called Major Punter, and I did a small little series on that, but more about that later. Anyways, let's go on to how to play these characters, because you are not just purely control based with some buffs like a controller is. You're more active, you're more used to the team in combat, not just support, and that's really nice. So you're mainly going to start off with rooting and holding the enemy, maybe batching those together, maybe taking control of an enemy unit and having them fight on your side. But then once that's all done and said, you're then using your ranged attacks and your melee attacks, which are safe to do on hold enemies and fight against, especially for the melee. If you do an area effect hold, you can just walk up to them and start pounding on them like a boxer and nothing's gonna happen to you, and it's really nice and fun. But you want to keep an eye on your health, and the reason being is you are still very squishy. So when you're doing this, you want to, if you're early stages, you want to hold and root two different targets. You're going to hold one target with one ability, and you're going to root another target, and then maybe focus on the others that come into melee range and take those out, and then continue rooting and holding. Once you get mass roots, you're going to have a bit of easier time, because then they're not getting into that melee range, which limits the amount of attacks that they'll have on you. Once you get your group hold, that's when you come into your power. One thing I did forget to mention about Dominators is they have this unique ability, and this ability, you'll notice that there is a third bar below your health and your endurance. When that fills up, you get domination. You hit domination, your roots and holds have a way stronger effect and will affect lieutenants and bosses a lot harsher. A better chance of it holding onto them, and your attacks do more damage, and your roots and holds last longer, which is great. So with all that said on how you play this character, let's get into enhancements for your primaries, which are your roots, your holds, your sleeps, things like that. You want to slot accuracy. You want to make sure that those are going to hit. That's the primary thing you want to focus on. Don't worry about slotting accuracies predominantly on your attacks. Focus on your roots, your holds, your sleeps. The next thing you want to slot in this whole entire thing is you want to slot more on the roots, the holds, and the sleep capabilities of how long they last. You want that because the longer they last, the less you have to worry about rooting, sleeping, and holding the enemy, which is great. It means that you can focus more time on dishing out that damage. Once you've got that all done, then I also work a bit on your attacks. And on your attacks, I predominantly do accuracy, so you're not wasting your endurance and missing a bunch. I focus on damage, and then I go into the secondary abilities. So if you get something like you're doing Dark Masma, which when you hit an enemy, it makes it so that they have a harder time of hitting you, I put 2 hit debuffs on those abilities. so there's a less likelihood of them hitting you, and that's where some of these combo effects come into play. With that Dark Miasma, like I mentioned, you're debuffing the enemy so they have a less chance of hitting you, which is great. You can also do that with the Dark Miasma control stuff because it also causes some of that effect, which can be nice. So overall, how you want to play is all based on how you set up the Dominator. What powers you choose, what power sets you choose, how you slot those, and everything like that, just like all the other classes. But you get a lot of control, and you have that oh crap button to hit for domination. Don't constantly use it, only use it when you need it. It is your emergency. I need to really fight this out. I'm fighting a red boss or things like that where you don't know if you're going to survive the fight. That's when you use domination. Don't use it constantly, use it sparingly. I hope you found this helpful. If you did, please hit that like button. And if you're not subscribed, subscribe and have a great day.